Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm talking about the concept of using your niche to become an adjunct professor. Lots of people have been asking me about how to become an adjunct professor in high layoff times like this. Really great way to create a side income to make some really decent money. So in this video, I'm actually going to give you the step-by-step guide to becoming an adjunct professor. Just quickly, let me give you guys a quick background if any of you are new to the channel. So I've been a professor for over 12 years. I actually started as an adjunct professor and I taught for like a year and a half as an adjunct professor before I was actually asked to be a full-time professor. So I understand what goes into, and also I've been a deputy chair, and part of my role at that time as a deputy chair was to hire and manage the adjunct professors. So I've actually hired probably around 15 to 20 adjunct professors. So I really have a good understanding of this. So let's dive into this video. This video will all be about the steps in terms of just how do you use your niche, your skills, step-by-step guide in becoming an adjunct professor. So basically, let's begin this process. So there's some basic qualification that you need to most people primarily master's degree. That's what they're looking at. So if you have a master's degree, there's a high probability that you will be accepted in the role as a adjunct professor. Typically, you can probably try to be in a field. I see a lot of people who don't have master's degree, but let's say they're a CPA, so they pretty much specialize that they're a lawyer, which to me, having a lawyer is a master's degree or even higher, quite frankly. That's my personal viewpoint. So you can actually teach basically with those things without having the master's degree. If you're a CPA, you're an accountant, you want to teach some accounting classes, I would absolutely recommend that you do that. But for the most part, you need to have a master's degree or higher to basically be qualified to be an adjunct professor. As I said, industry experience is really great. There are some people who probably been in banking for a number of years, probably still don't have a master's degree. But if that can be identified that you have some industry experience and it makes sense, you have some technical skills that make sense, you've worked at some firm basically throughout the tech industry, that's a really great. Typically, they're looking for 5+ years, 10+ years to really say, okay, fine, this is industry experience. But I would advise you to think about that. That's basically certificates. If you have like coaching certificates, really specialized certificates, like I said before, CPA, project management, really great. I would encourage you to think about it. You have those coaching certificate. Lots of people have coaching certificates. You can actually use those to become and apply to become an adjunct professor. So I would basically say, even if you don't meet some of those, don't disqualify yourself automatically. Still submit it and see where you are, just to get a sense of like, okay, what is required, and it might just work for you. It might just work for you. Lots of people have really niche skill that people are looking for right now, especially schools. So I would say before you like see what this is and say no, you feel free to DM me, reach out to me. Happy to talk to you about it. So again, high value skill, really high value skills that you need. Learn to communicate. Basically, remember, teaching is an exchange of ideas through public speaking. So really learn how to public speak, really learn how to communicate. I think it's a wonderful thing to be able to do that and to understand that, basically. So I would say if you're not sure to communicate, you haven't, so take some, I have a few videos that I talk about public speaking on the channel. So use those. You can feel free to take some coaching classes in public speaking. I recommend that basically because again, you're interacting with students, you're interacting with the public, you're exchanging ideas and information. And it's in my opinion, if you're a really good public speaker, it goes well. Learn how to problem solve. Your role is to sit here and problem solve. Basically, you're constantly problem solve as an adjunct professor. Matter of fact, as a professor, period, right? Um, so you're constantly, so with students, you're problem solving. There's always things that you're looking at in the classroom. How do you make it better? How do you innovate around it? So we're always thinking about those things. So just again, just be mindful. In my opinion, these high level skills that you're developing, problem solving is one. Time management. I really cannot emphasize this basically because if you have a job, you're working somewhere else, or you're not working, but you're just part-time adjunct professor at this moment, I really encourage you basically to learn how to use different softwares that can help you manage your time pretty effectively. I see a lot. I don't know what it is, but we have this wonderful ubiquitous thing in our pocket, or and 99% of the time, the phone, and it has a really good time management tool in it, the calendar. Use it, like put all of your schedule inside it, make it notification, all those things, so you can actually. So many adjunct professors I've hired turn up to class late. The students really, really don't like that. That the uncertainty drives them crazy. So I would really make sure that you are on time for class, on time with your exams, on time with your scheduling, all those things basically. So I can't emphasize that much. Happy to talk to you guys if you would like to about that. But I think most of you are in industry, corporate world, or somewhere you really get that, you understand that, so that shouldn't be a problem for you. Uh, because you're dealing with students, and mostly we have all been students prior, right? Empathy, just really try to understand and relate to the students, their feelings, their thoughts, experiences, what's going on in their life at this point in time. Having those again, these are things that we should learn in the corporate America, basically if we are working, but sometimes it doesn't happen. So I would really, really, really emphasize just having these high value skills that you can actually demonstrate in the interview so that we can understand, okay, we don't want to micromanage what you do. But, we probably help you with your first curriculum. That's it. But we want you to develop your curriculum yourself. You can always ask feedback. We're happy to talk to you, give you some instruction, help you guide you with it. But we want you to innovate. We want you to think outside the box and bring your expertise with you to basically drive the students upbringing. So I would really encourage you to just think about that part of it. But again, let me just repeat those high value skills again: communication, problem solving, time management, and just having a sense of, like, I know it's hard to live in a world where lots of people don't have empathy, but I would encourage you just to try to understand and relate to the students in this vulnerable time in their life, basically, so you can walk it through. And again, so communication, really, really key. It starts there. You're public speaking, you're standing in front of a lot of people, you're talking, you're exchanging information, ideas, having this conversation. You're constantly problem solving right throughout your time. You're problem solving, whether it's in the classroom, something is wrong, whether it is your class door. It's just simple things like that. You get to the classroom door is closed. You don't want to panic. You want to make sure, oh, how do I solve this problem? Lost the way I've solved this problem before. It could be that I see a classroom next door that's empty. I just try to find out if there's no other class coming in the next, whatever my time of class is. And I was just going to that class. Sometimes I just try to call and see how quickly. Um, I'm usually 5 or 10 minutes early anyway, so I try to call, and we don't have the keys, so you have to call the security come and open the door, depending on where you are. Basically, that might work. You might be close to the department office where you can just walk in and get a key. But whatever it is, figure out how to problem solve. It could be a situation where you don't have your notes and you're like, oh wow, what are you going to teach? Figure out the problem solve. If you have to improvise on your lessons this week, what that might be the case, or it might just be the case where you're thinking through, okay, it's in the cloud. Let me see if I can get access to the cloud. So you figure out how to get access to the cloud and all those wonderful things. So I always say just have backup. Again, I'm talking to professionals here. I'm assuming that people that recall me are professionals. They probably have your master's degree, probably working for lots of years. So you understand how to solve these problems. But I'm just reinforcing some of these things, just problems that will arise. You want to be able to solve a problem. You might have a student that's going through a difficult time on an exam, and you try to figure out, okay, how do I solve this problem? So the problems that exist as an adjunct varies across from just student related or equipment related or infrastructure related, logistically related. So you're probably driving to school and you're running late, traffic, you're trying to figure, oh, wow, I'm not going to get in time. Try to call the administrator, the manager, that's the department, and just said, "Oh, I'm running late. Can you tell the students to stay or reschedule the class or something?" But just don't have the students there sitting down waiting 15, 20 minutes and you don't show up, because that just creates problems. You're better off just like let them know I'm canceling class today because something came up. Or so you don't want to do it all the time, but if you have to, basically, it happens. Luckily for me, it has never happened. So I must admit, basically, so it's never happened to me. But if it did, that's how I would actually deal with it. Basically, so that's what think about it. I have the department manager. I have her phone number in my phone. So if I had to, I would just call and just say, "Hey, listen, I'm running late." I also have my Zoom link on my phone. So if I need to, I can actually start teaching the class Zoom if something happens. So you can start teaching the class Zoom. The students are really okay with it, at least in my school, which is City College, where I do lecturing. And I have done lecturing in other places, which I didn't have to do that because I'm basically going as adjunct professor. But you primarily just can make a telephone call or just go on Zoom and just start teaching this. Like I just usually email them. I log into Blackboard from my phone and just email them and say, if I had to do things like that, right? So I would just be encourage you to be open to problem solving, like you're working in any other place, basically. So again, high value skills that I would recommend that every single adjunct professors, lecturers try to onboard. Um, while you're thinking about this, try to gain some teaching experience. I think we live in a world today that I see some I want to emphasize, I see some fantastic videos on YouTube. So that you can start there. Like just start learning how to make YouTube videos, because you're pretty much teaching. Like just start articulating how to make YouTube videos. So start gaining teaching experience, whether it is on a YouTube videos where you're teaching something, or you have your manager allow you to teach something while you're there, or offer to do a training program at a library. So any one of those type of basic training. And for those of you, you can actually be guest lecturer. So you can just call up a friend or somebody you know and say, "Hey, listen, are you okay if I come and do a?" I've had friends come to my class and just basically have strong banking background, and they just come in and talk for half an hour, 45 minutes as a guest lecturer around certain things. So I would really encourage you to start thinking about that. If you're like, okay, how am I going to gain experience to become an adjunct professor? I would easily say it's simple. There's so many ways you can conduct workshops and workplace trainings, basically guest lecturing and online teaching. I think online teaching is a simple way to start. Just create a course content and just put it on YouTube and start teaching it. Basically, that's a great way just to start. That's I think is fundamentally wonderful skills to have, just understanding how to basically teach in front of people. I can say um, online teaching is extremely different when you're just talking to the camera as opposed to when you're talking to the student. So you'll see some variations in it, but overall the principles are the same, right? So I would really encourage you to just start if you're ever thinking about this or somewhere thought process. I would say start gaining some experience around teaching, around training, in whatever way you can. I would really encourage you to do that. Start thinking about what is my, because one of the really, really, really crazy thing you'll see, especially if you're just like reaching out to the department, academic style resumes and cover letters are so different from corporate. And that's something I had to learn basically from corporate, because again, background wise, I came into corporate America before I came over to lecture, and it's really weird. So I have like two separate um, CV slash resume cover letter for academic and for corporate. So if I decide to go back into corporate America or whenever I do any consulting work, that's the resume I use on the on the corporate side. So figure out, and it's you can just Google it. By the way, there's a lot, or you can DM me. I can show you what it looks like. It's really just trying to focus more on if you have any publication, presentation, certificates, relevant teaching experience. Drive those home. Those are bigger value to the school, basically, and then you can then highlight some of your corporate experience that makes that why this makes sense to you. So if you have any of those, I would lead with those first. You publish a book. It's just a different way of how they basically do that. And again, the same thing with tailoring your cover letter. Think about what that should look like, how it should look like, make it real world, industry expertise, all those things that drive you home. You can start thinking about creating a syllabi, basically creating syllabi, course ideas, and again, those are also different. Like if a corporation asks me for say a syllabus, I would actually create something that looks like what's on Coursera or Udemy for the corporate world. But if a school asks me for syllabus, I actually send them the one that I use for my school. Totally different. Don't know why. That's how it works. So I just work with that basically. In most cases, it makes rational sense because there's a lot of legal things that the school needs to get approval from the state, and they look for a lot of stuff that makes sense. So again, I can share cover letters and stuff with you guys basically that you can look at, or more importantly, what a syllabus would look like basically from the academic side. And if you just want to see what it looks like from the industry side, you can look at anyone that's on Coursera or Udacity. Any of those make sense. Basically, that's what it typically looks like. That's the one I typically use as well. So again, just think through that. Start building an academic style resume, cover letter, and your own syllabus, just so that you can, just in case some asks. And again, it's like I said, if you really think about this, even if you go do it for somewhere and you just want to have that right there in front of you, just makes sense to say, okay, I can teach a class somewhere, and you just design something and just have a syllabus that makes sense, so you can always change and move it around as you go forward and just make it look that way, right? Start networking with faculty and departments. I know you guys, everyone basically see it, but just get on LinkedIn and start looking for people or faculty in where you want to teach, basically, and just start reaching out to them, whether it's a professor, someone working in the lecture or a lecturer, and just start connect with them, talk to them about it. You might have former classmates who are basically already in the academic space. You can talk to them, reach out to them, basically attend events, conferences, wherever that might be, local university, right? And I think more importantly, because we engage online today, I think this is a fundamentally great way you can engage online. Or again, like I said, whether it's this through LinkedIn, faculty posts, all those things. Even though there are some really strong faculty posts, but not enough. But you can still find enough engagement online to basically find a way to network with faculties and department heads. It's a great way to just like think through it, right. So that, to me, the biggest networking is going to come from faculty. So think about, how do I network with faculty? Because most time it's hard to reach the department heads, because they just not really even paying attention to some of these things. So I think your best bet is just to network with faculty and just see how that works basically as you move forward and engage with them. So you go through the process of just applying to college and universities. So what are you looking at when you think about that, right? What is your strategy for doing this, right? So again, it is simple, right? So target the place, the institution that you want to work. How am I going to go about this, right? Can be college website. Like I said before, it can be just contacting department chairs. Basically talk to them, ask what you're looking for, just a CV. Most times, adjunct roles are not posted. So it's really imperative that you're doing some legwork, doing some homework in terms of that, because most time it's not posted. If we really have a job, I they probably just send it to the school, and the school probably just send it out on a local email, and people just passed around. Very few times we will have people just email us. A lot. We do get emails, outbound emails from people, just like inbound emails from people just asking if we have a position available. So yeah, and networking is always a big one. Lots of referrals comes in from their friends. So I would really encourage you to do that basically. So what I would say to you today, get started today. If you have a niche, if you have identified a niche, you've determined that this subject is, this subject matter, I want to talk about it, I want to teach it, and you feel like the where I want to teach it is inside of a university or a college, then great. I would say, okay, fine, we're going to start doing that. Build the experiences that you need, double down on that, just start using. Listen, I'm here on YouTube teaching you guys the things that I learned sometime, and just doing some of the things that I do at the college and university level, right? So I can do that. I built up the skill set. And now, by the way, to be honest, it took me a while to really get comfortable on camera, even though I was teaching online to my students. I thought it was really weird. It was a psychological block. Like, it really was. I thought it was really weird. I was like, okay, I teach online to my students. Why am I having this, um, like really weird feeling towards talking to the camera, basically talking to people? And it's one of those things where it's just, I had to get that out my head and just block that out. What is even fundamentally funny is, if I'm doing a live session and people are there on camera, I'm actually cool with that because I feel like I'm teaching my class. But when I'm just talking to the camera just like that, it's really, really weird. Like, it's like, oh, am I sitting right? Am I doing this? Am I looking at the camera? And I had to just let go of some of those things and start moving around as if I was teaching my class. I was like, you know what? If people on on YouTube are not comfortable with that, it's okay. But you have to just keep doing it, and then eventually you just get more comfortable with it, and then stop like looking around, basically. But just keep practicing, because you're talking to this camera, and sometimes you wonder, oh, should I just keep talking to the camera? And one of the things that I found is, basically, as opposed to even worrying about what the whole camera setting look like, if you can just use your computer to start until you get really comfortable doing that, then I think it's your best bet, quite frankly, to just like get really comfortable with doing this. And then from there, you can, like branch out and move out. And you'll see a lot. So you're going to make a lot of mistakes in this process. So it's okay. But I would say just start doing it. And basically, remember, in most adjunct class, you might be teaching in the class anyway, so you don't even worry about the camera, right? But you can also teach some online classes. Really great because it gives you more flexibility. So you can teach online, or you can teach in person, or hybrid, basically. So I think that's great. And get started learning how to prepare your materials. I would start now. Don't wait until you get the job or you're there. Start learning how to create the material, especially your cover letter and your resume. All those things. Start tailoring them towards specifically the academic world, and equally well, basically, how did I get to the point where, okay, I can create a wonderful syllabus, basically a curriculum that fits into that based on what I'm teaching. Again, some people ask me, how did you get your job? It was networking. It was a friend of a friend who said, hey, listen, we're looking for somebody with your technical skills who would like to teach. I said, okay, sure. So I started teaching, and that's how I got started teaching. I really like it, enjoy interacting with the students. As much as I love doing my thing on the side, I really enjoy this, and I just like going and interacting with the students, have a wonderful time. So I would really encourage you to move forward with this. If you find any value in this, please do me a favor. Just below, hit the subscribe button. And by the way, share this with somebody you think who might need it. There's so many people right now that are being laid off. I'm certain it will be valuable to the students. Students can learn so much from this rich fundamental group of people that are out there that are laid off. So I'm certain. So do me a really good favor and just share this one, basically, and like it just because if you like it, that will probably let them know that you liked it so that you're sharing with them. But equal, very, very important is just to subscribe. Basically, not for me, but when you subscribe, Google is where they will push it to people who find this valuable. And if you don't find it valuable, you don't need to like it or share it. It's really okay. I'm not doing this for everybody to like it or everybody, but I just do believe that there's some people out there that really will find value from this. Basically, so I want to make sure that the people who are finding value from this really get access to my to more information, more valuable information that I'm posting. So I would much appreciate if you just like subscribe and share with someone that you really think needs to know this. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day, and I'll talk to you next time.